Hello, my friends. So I'm sitting here with burning eyes and burning throat because there is really bad smoke outside here, and I'm in Vancouver. You know, this city used to be considered one of the best places to live in the world environmentally. I don't think this is the case anymore, or maybe it is relative to other places, but the temperature outside is about 36 degrees. And this is not the type of life I think anybody would like to have. And I can just imagine people who live closer to the equator and have 50 degrees plus. Actually, I cannot imagine. No, this is not sustainable. All right, before I start, I want to thank from the bottom of my heart to all the people who reach out to me by email, by messages, by phone. This is my real reward. I really like to communicate and hear feedback from you. So I want to thank you, and I appreciate your comments and you reaching out to me. It's very important. So grab a cup of tea here or a cup of coffee. We are going to have a discussion. I'm the only one talking, but I'm sure that you actually respond to me when you watch this video. So it becomes a discussion. You know, most of the time I talk about topics that relate to your personal reality and how to improve it, how to change it, how to manifest things. Today it will be more about our shared reality. As I mentioned before, it's becoming harder and harder to go about our business here. At the point we arrive in this reality, and I want to talk today not about just the problems, I'll mention them, but more about the solutions. And I want to talk about unconventional solutions, because the conventional solutions, in my opinion, are not working anymore. It's too late for those. And I also want to talk about how we got here. And the reason we got here is because we did not cast our vote in the ongoing reality creation elections. You know, I discussed that in previous videos, because we all have the right to vote and shape this reality. The problem is very few vote. And the ones that vote, those few, don't really have all of us in their mind. They don't realize that they vote, but they vote for their own, mostly, for their own selfish, whatever goals they have. And what I want to do today is actually bring you back, show you how to vote, and give you the tools to vote so that we can change this reality we are in right now. Because, you know, all our videos here and all our discussions are about changing reality. And in reality, it does not make a difference whether you change the reality so you have another $500 in your bank account, or you change the reality so the weather changes or the temperatures go down by a degree or two or whatever. There's absolutely no difference. You see, as a result of the situation, my mission changed from changing the world to actually saving the world. And I will talk about that. So the three top issues we are facing right now, which are endangering us, And this is in order of how much they are endangering us, and that may surprise you, but that's, again, that's my subjective opinion. So the first one is China. Okay? The second one is global warming. And the third one is a possible conflict, a nuclear conflict that will, most likely make us suffer. It will not be the end of the world, but it could make us suffer in some very, very unbearable ways. See, today we are in a boat which is rushing towards a waterfall. And using oars, like we normally do, is not going to help and save us. The only way to avoid this waterfall, or the fall, which is more relevant here, is to change the movie, okay? Or manipulate the program, as I talked a couple of videos ago about the simulation, which I equated this situation to a simulation. So we need to change and manipulate or change that program. That's the only way we are going to come out of this. And what I want to do today in this video, maybe this is just the beginning, is to get as many of you as I can to vote and create a different reality. And in order to do that, I will equip you with the right knowledge and beliefs. What I really want to do is assemble and unite a connected spiritual army of souls in order to create the next episode of this reality. Okay? And you may ask why. Well, I can only tell you what I believe or actually know from my subjective perspective. And as I said, it is subjective, and it's up to you to decide what to make out of it, okay, what to make of it. Because the way I feel is that I'm here to remind the programmer, who currently is us. Okay, there is no programmer right now up there. It's us all together that are this reality, okay, and are the programmer at this stage. And the programmer is currently experiencing this reality through our eyes. So at the same time, I feel that my mission is to remind the programmer who he is, and to remind you who you are as well. And the way I'm going to do this is by providing you with enough knowledge and evidence so you can move this below the line and then create the shift. I will talk more about the line, and I will also post a link at the bottom here to the video where I talk about the line to the right time, to the right point, where I talk about that horizontal line of impossibilities that we create, which is actually virtual. Okay, so I will show you how to bring this change of reality, our current shared reality, how to bring that change under the line. And this will be, the material to do that will be in my book, which now I pushed forward. I was going to take a year or so to complete it, but I pushed it forward, and I will most likely, if it's possible and if I can, I will try to do it in the next few months, maybe 2-3 months, have it out. Because in there you will have the knowledge and information to enable you to move this under the line. You see, the programmer is the collective consciousness to which we need to connect to change this reality, right? And the collective consciousness is actually the culmination of all humans. And you have a direct connection to it. Most of you don't use it because it doesn't provide instant gratification, right? Like you don't see instant changes unless you do this sharp turn that I discussed again in one of my videos when you are in a situation, in an emergency situation. And another thing, the fact that you are here is mostly, I guess you come originally, most of you came from reality transurfing, because this was still is the theme of this channel, right? And I think YouTube is funneling people based on searches to reality transurfing. And because of that, it means that you believe that reality can be changed. You have to realize that the only difference between changing your financial situation or changing the weather is your line of limitations, like I mentioned earlier. And the postbox analogy in reality transurfing, when Vadim says, you know, if you can make it as simple and believable as going and getting your newspaper from the postbox, then anything can actually happen. You can do anything you want. Let's talk a little bit about ancient secrets. Because many, you know, I think I mentioned that also in the past, but I want to take it from a totally different angle. Because I think that I said in the previous videos that there is no such thing as ancient knowledge. But like I said, I want to take it from a different angle, and I want to talk about the Pharaoh and the pyramids. And, you know, there are many, many discussions about how they managed to bring all these big stones and create this pyramid. I think it's about, let me see here, it's 146.5 meters, okay, tall. And those building stones, they are so huge, not only to get them from wherever they brought them, but also to bring them to the top of the pyramid. And I think that all those discussions are dealing with the means, with the tools, with the, you know, people talk about discs, secret discs, and secret frequencies of sound, and so on. And I think that these discussions are all missing the point. Because it doesn't matter how this got executed. You see, in manifesting, the basic rule is whoever you listen to or whoever you read is to ask for it and then let go. Not to tell reality or the programmer how to do it, okay? If I want to do the pyramids, okay, you know, please get me a boat like this and please get me 20,000 slaves. No. If you start with that, then you have to do it in a physical way, because then you are the programmer. So the way to do these things is to actually manifest it. How it's executed is totally irrelevant. And, you know, reality will always deliver everything through nature. It will happen. And to those of you who did, you know, manifest things in the past, you know that. It just comes in some way. You can never tell how it's going to come. And if you're trying to direct it, it doesn't happen. Okay? And then you have to actually make it happen yourself. So, you know, when the Pharaoh at that time decided to build this 146.5 meter pyramid, he just manifested it. It's not relevant, again, how it was executed. What counts is why it actually happened. And the answer is the Pharaoh had the ability to manifest. His line of limitations was almost non-existent. And that's why he was treated like a god. You know, people treated the Pharaoh like a god. And it's not because he was the king, because there were many kings in history, and they were not treated like gods. And it wasn't, you know, so popular that the Pharaoh is a god. The reason he was treated like a god is because he could manifest, he could create those miracles. And he had that ability because he did not have the line of limitation. He did have it, but he was way higher on it. So how did we get here? See, the programmer had initially set this thing up. Sorry, my phone is, even if I switch it off, it keeps doing this through the computer. So the programmer initially set this reality up with 80% of under his control and 20% are under our control, right? From our 5 physical senses. But over time, and this is what we call the evolution, right? It shifted from being 80% by the programmer, it shifted to being 90% by us, humans. Okay? The thing is that we took this 90% and instead of trying to connect to the collective consciousness and shift things through there, just like, in the old days, they used to take 1,000, 2,000, I know how many thousand of people, and they would dance or have some kind of a ceremony. And they didn't try to manifest anything for them personally. They tried to change the weather, to make the rain come, or to have the agriculture, products be successful and so on. And we don't do this anymore. Today, it's like, 99% science. Science will do anything. Well, science brought us to this disaster, right? So, because it developed all the tools that caused that. You have to realize that both world wars, first and second, happened because of the advance of science and decline of spirit, right? Those nations, those people, they figured, oh, we have the best weapon, and we have the best tank, we have airplanes now, and we can go and win the war. And this is because of the science. I mean, I have nothing against science. All I'm saying is that when you decide that science is it, that's your programmer, and that's your, everything, your collective consciousness, and it can, then it doesn't work. You can only change things that are, science is able to change, which is the oars I mentioned in that boat running towards the waterfall. You cannot stop it with the oars. That's it. When the programmer gave us this control, and I will show you a diagram in a minute, which I have in one of my videos. I think it's the second chapter of the book, but I'll go over it again. So it is the same, like, when your child grows and you give them more and more freedom, right? Eventually, you give them 100% freedom. Some people don't, but... and the problem is that not all children use that freedom properly, right? We all know it in a very painful way. And we may blame the parents or the programmer in this case, and this is well placed. It is, because we are the product of the programmer. So whatever we do is because we got freedom, but maybe we didn't get the right directions. And remember, contrary to what religions tell you, right? The programmer did not predetermine the outcome of this program or this reality. He just became part of it and, went on the ride. And the whole idea is uncertainty. This is why quantum, when we go into quantum physics, it's all about uncertainty. Because this reality is all about uncertainty, and we direct it. And we can direct it either through physical means, or we can direct it through connecting to the collective consciousness and influencing the big picture. This is why I refer again to something that I talked about before, and I even posted a link to this dual or double slit experiment where human or consciousness involvement, observation, causes the particles, which are the building blocks of this reality, of this universe, it causes them to change. So it means that you have that ability. As a consciousness, you have the ability to influence the building blocks of this reality, right? But you cannot do it through science. You see, science is still struggling with this experiment for over 100 years now, probably closer to 150 years, and has no answers. Why? Because science stops when it comes to consciousness. And actually, everything starts there. So I was asked, I think, last few days by somebody who commented here on my last video, and they said, what does the programmer want? And that's a very good question. The programmer doesn't want anything right now, but before he went into this reality, to experience it, of course he wanted. Right? He wanted to experience the evolution of this thing that he set up. And in order for, there is a reason also why in the Bible, God says to Moses, I will be what I will be. In Hebrew, that's what he says. He doesn't say I am. He says, I will be what I will be. And this is the meaning of it, right? This is what he became. He became us because he wants to experience this thing. So I'll show you a diagram here. Let me just switch the camera. And so it will help you understand what does a programmer want and why we are where we are and how to get out of here. So you see, okay, I'll bring the cursor here. So this diagram I actually put in the second chapter of the book. And what it shows here is where we started, where the programmer started. It started from nothingness. There was absolutely nothingness. Again, it's very hard to imagine. And there is a link in one of my videos to a really good short video about nothingness. But the whole thing started, I can't even use a word for with or in because it's not correct. Nothingness is nothingness. At that time, there was only the consciousness that we call today God. It was just a consciousness, nothing else. And then when the programmer set up this program, this simulation, or call it whatever, right? Here we started. Then the programmer was on top. He was in control. He gave us rules and 10 commandments and all the other commandments. So he basically set up the framework to where he can actually let go and start experiencing this, right? During this time, we were at the bottom here and totally controlled by the programmer. And then at some point, okay, this whole thing switched. When we were ready, and if you look at the Bible, it's probably somewhere where the Bible ends, right? Because the Bible ends at some point. Or it could be when the Israelites got into the land of Israel. At that point, the thing switches. Now, humans are in control, you see, right here. And the programmer is actually down here, just experiencing. He doesn't do anything. And where we are today is basically somewhere here, which is very close to this point, which is the end point. And this end point, right, it's in the Hebrew tradition is the Messiah. In the Mayan calendar, it's the end. And in many other calendars also, it's the end of time. And the end of time, like I said that before, doesn't mean the end of the world. It just means the end of this reality. And just 1 second. Eric, can you let the dog in? Oh. Thanks. Sorry, the dog is trying to get into the house. It's too hot outside. So it means the end of this reality and a start of a different reality. It means the changing of the film roll, okay? And because you are in control, you are going to cause it. You realize that because the programmer is down here. You have to do it. Okay, so back to my face. All right. Let me just set this up properly. Now, like I said, in the past, they had these mass ceremonies, and they were actually able to change. Same as the Pharaoh managed to build those pyramids, humans were able to change reality. They weren't aware of it, but they believed in it, and they felt connected, and this is what did it, right? And all that stopped when science appeared on the stage. Because then, we don't believe in this, in oracles anymore. It's like the Matrix, right? Where that brave warrior, he tells the board of directors there, he says, we don't, the oracles are not going to save us here. We don't believe in oracles. Let's go and fight those machines. And you know what the outcome was, right? In the Matrix, we have a beautiful example of how the physical war of the, on the machines led to nowhere. They were going to die, right? The only one that saves them was Neo, who connects to the programmer, who connects to the collective consciousness and manages to change it. And then everything stops. So this is the same thing here. You know, the Matrix actually has many metaphors which are real. Those two brothers, Wachowski, you know, they were downloaded some information, and that's what actually drove them to, like, it destroyed their mind. You know, both of them at the age of 70 or whatever decided to change to be women. This is not a coincidence. This is because anybody in history that dealt with, for example, infinity, either went crazy or died. All these mathematicians and other scientists, you know, dedicated their life to research infinity. They did not survive. And this applies to the Matrix as well, because what they were trying to research and present here is more than infinity. It's more complicated. So you see, and despite all these problems we have, and this is no longer, you know, threatening our kids, this is threatening us. Because like I said, what happened here in Vancouver, I cannot believe it. I've been living here for 40 years. I would say 95 of the population here never used an air conditioner, and neither did I. And then in the last 2-3 years, this thing went crazy. So this is not threatening our kids anymore. This is threatening right now. You know, it's clear, clear danger right here. And despite all this, there is very little unity among nations or people, right? Everything is driven by groups and individuals who have interests and greed. And nobody can agree on anything about this big problem or about the common issue, right? The key word is efficiency, and that's it. Efficiency in what? Destroying this reality? You know, the world has become a global village, but there is no leadership. It is a global village, and that's the problem, right? Because if somebody in a country which is maybe 10,000 kilometers from here, you know, is having a fire in a big forest, we will get the smoke. You know, that our smoke from here today actually is in New York City, which is 5,000 kilometers from here. So this is a global village, you know, I sometimes refer to the Bible. Again, it's not for any religious reasons, just a very, I think it's an amazing book, and that's why it's the most read book in the world. And in the Bible, you know, whenever God says to obey Him, listen to Him, love Him, believe in Him, and all these things, it doesn't mean, you know, to love and believe and listen to some superhuman, because that's what actually religions are telling us. It's like this God sitting up there in the sky and with a big beard and watching us, and we are supposed to be good and ask for forgiveness. This is not the case. All those references were in the Bible when God says, you know, that you have to do this and this and that. All it means is that you have to stay connected to the collective consciousness. That's all it says. Because like I said, he's not some superhuman that wants you to love him or this is not the case. You have to really understand that it's very dangerous, those beliefs in God as a superhuman or some kind of an entity that you can, you know, have a discussion. There is even books, Conversations with God, and I think that book sold in many millions of copies, and it's total nonsense. Keep in mind also that the programmer invested too much in this reality simulation, and he will never let it crash. The only issue is, okay, how it's going to get fixed, because in the program are the tools to keep it going, and those tools may be very harsh on us, right? It's a question of what price are we going to pay, humans, to stop this or until it stops. We may pay a very, you know, heavy price for that in suffering. I would say that you will probably have to watch this video more than once to really absorb what I'm saying here. And when you do, your whole viewpoint of reality will shift. And again, from a very, very subjective perspective, I don't want anybody to believe because I say you have to believe me or whatever. I think that I have the tools to actually do it with your help. But I will give you those tools, we'll share them with you, and we'll do it together. Okay? Now on a different topic, we'll go back to my regular to my regular presentations. I decided to start doing live videos here on YouTube. I will experiment with it, and I want to talk to you and get your feedback and get your questions and help you on one-on-one. So we'll do a video maybe of 1 hour or whatever, and you can bring issues and problems, and I will really, really try to help you. And I think that I can. I also want to kind of bring a new theme, and it is called the starting stance. It's like, in karate or any of those martial arts, or even in boxing, you always come back to your starting stance. And otherwise, you will get lost in the fight. You have to come back and regroup and be ready for the next episode. And I think in life, we have the same issue. We go way, way too deep. We never come to the stand, to the beginning, to the starting stance, and then look at things again. Because many people say, oh, if I could just live my life again. You can live your life again every day. All you have to do is just come back to the starting stance. So I want to develop that topic and help you, any one of you that got too deep into this thing and feels totally lost, help you come back to the starting stance and make you feel that you are starting your life again. There's absolutely no reason why not. Actually, you can do it every morning. So what you should do is subscribe and click on that bell so that when I do this live video, you get notified. Otherwise, you will watch it after, but you will not be able to ask questions. Also, today, I'm going to select the winner to the quiz that we had roughly a month and a couple days ago. And it was, what would you do if you were designated the Messiah? Remember? And I said that whoever gets the most likes, I think we already have a winner, will get the Healing Olive package. And the Healing Olive, again, is something that happens because of my connection to that collective consciousness. That's why I did it. That was an experiment. And the fact that it worked convinced me that actually it can be done. It's a little bit like the Pharaoh, but I'm not the Pharaoh yet. So we'll choose the winner, and I will put maybe a short video to announce it, and then we'll give them the prize. In the next video, I also want to share with you something that I've been working on for the last few years, and it's kind of a hit and miss thing, because I figured out a way that you can actually make something happen. It's manifesting, but it's without any slides or pictures. It just you just say something at the right time, with the right intention, and with a really, really clear mind of anything else, and it happens. And it could be very big. I'll give you some examples. Again, you can believe it, you cannot believe it, it doesn't matter. I'm just telling you what happened. A friend of mine, she lives in Australia, and she probably going to confirm this here in the comments because she listens to my video. A year and a half ago, in their summer, they had these horrible fires, and she lives in Sydney. There was lots of smoke, and she said to me, I don't know, joking or seriously, can you do something about it? And I said, very soon you will have not just rains that will put the fires out, but you will have floods. And you know what? Within 10 days, it happened. Again, she can be the witness. And there are many examples like this that I said something in a certain way, and I was trying to and I'm still working on it, but I'm going to share it with you and see what you can do with it. It's very close to what Pharaoh did. Okay, please share this video. This particular video is important that you share because I have no other means to get to people. I don't do any advertising or promotions or anything like that. So it's up to you to really share it with people that, in your opinion, can connect and understand these concepts. So thank you again for being patient and arriving here. And I will see you on the next episode or in that live video that I'm going to do. Thank you.